So hello everyone, welcome to Dynamic Year. This is our third call, right? Third call. And so what we've done so far is we've gone through module 1, which was look at all the achievements and look at all the disappointments. And in module 2, we're going through the grabbing all the learning from it and boiling it down into the wisdom that we want to be moving forward with. So in our last call, what we did was the sharing of the accomplishments and the disappointments. And this time, and like 1-2 of the learnings, and this time we're going to really focus on boiling it down to what the kind of top 6 learnings are. So Kathy, if you can remember what your top 6 learnings are, maybe quickly write those down. And Paula, if you can get those in front of you, that'd be great. And what I'm going to do is just kind of share a little bit about what we're going to do. I'm just going to mute you for a sec, Paula, while you're moving your papers around. So the problem that people have, the biggest mistake that people have is, well, there's many big mistakes, but what they're doing is they're not getting the learning from the year before. And then we make the same mistakes. Or when we go to kind of do something, rather than putting into practice something we've already learned or a skill we have or a way of being that we did before that worked really well, we tried a different way that is harder or it takes more time, less efficient, maybe costs us more money. And so we want to grab all the learnings, good and bad, so that we can make better decisions in 2020. And as I said on the last call, we want to make sure that the decisions we're making, the guidelines we're choosing are guidelines that are going to help us moving forward. And so we don't want to choose something we already know or that we're not going to apply at all. So for example, maybe the years that I was, just had a newborn probably wouldn't be the good years to pull in some guidelines that are going to have me extending myself or having myself travel a ton. And so I'm going to be thinking about where am I right now and how is that going to help me moving forward with the goals that I have and the kind of the situation I'm in my life. So we're going to kind of see what those bits of wisdom are. The key things we want to know are like which bits of wisdom. So this is going to help us to kind of grab those 6 because you have all that learning, lots of learning from all the areas of life. But we want to boil it down to 6 and then to 3. So the 6 bits of wisdom, as was in module 3, asks you which bits of wisdom showed up a lot or are easily transferable. So we remember, or if you remember last time on the last call with Kathy, we kept hearing scheduling. That came in there a lot. Paula, was there one kind of thing that happened many times over for you? I can't remember right now.
I think a lot of pushing through the fear.
Oh, the fear. Yes. There was a lot around that and being such a champion through it. Awesome. Mm-hmm. Good. So if something happened many times, that's definitely a learning that you want to boil down to a wisdom. Is it easily transferable? Meaning, can you use this wisdom in any area of life, or at least in a couple of other areas? So the wisdom in a relationship, let's say, if you said, when I'm with my friend Sarah, blah, 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 like that's so specific to Sarah. So pull Sarah out of it and make it more general. And so maybe what specifically happened in your relationship with Sarah was that you spoke your mind. Or before you went away together, you actually shared how you wanted it to be. So you don't want to make the wisdom, before I go away on a weekend with Sarah, so many details, weekend away with Sarah into the States, I know that I need to do this on the drive there. Like, when is that going to happen again? But if you pull it back to kind of a bigger picture, how can you transfer that? You got to think, when I share my vision for how I want something to be in my relationships, it makes things go better. So that's kind of the wisdom you can pull. Now you can transfer it. But you might have some that are so specific, or it might be something to connected to something you will never do ever again. Like the wisdom, I was able to get through childbirth without pain meds. Wasn't my choice. It was just so friggin' fast. It's how it went. So that's not a good transferable wisdom. Like, I can get through childbirth without painkillers. That was such an accomplishment for me. But if I want to transfer that, like, is that really a good one? Like, I can get through pain without painkillers? No. So you want to choose something that's easily transferable. Also, which ones did you learn the most from? Not the ones that were attached maybe to what you consider the biggest goals. Which ones did you learn the most from? What pieces of wisdom are you most proud of? And which ones do you want to easily remember and implement? So that's how we get down to these 6 different ones. And I'm just going to check my other document and see if there's anything else I wanted to share there. Of course, it's hiding underneath. Here we go. Okay, good. So at this point, I'm going to have Paula and Kathy share their 6 wisdoms. Okay. So Paula, it looks like you're ready. And actually, just as you're doing that, I'm just going to, or before you do that, I'm just going to double check. Okay, I was just double checking with Sue, and then I wanted to turn off my Facebook and my mail so that I don't get any more pings and dings. Okay, great. Go ahead, Paula.
All right. So I utilize the advice you provided. And so here are my 6. I feel fear, but I can push through it. Enthusiasm builds momentum.
Ooh.
I can become enthusiastic about most anything. Daily focus and practice makes me more efficient.
Yeah.
I'm a great planner, so chunking down tasks is a way of using my strengths to overcome my weaknesses.
Yep.
Pursue what serves me. That was a bit vague, so I don't quite, at this moment, thinking.
Say it one more time.
Pursue what serves me.
It actually sounds already like a guideline, and Kathy knows what I mean by already sounds like one. Yeah. Okay. So, and tell me the last one, and then we'll go back to that.
Okay. And confidence, my confidence comes from moving forward, and it comes from moving forward.
Awesome.
Not staying stuck.
Good. So do these sound like they're easily transferable?
Especially the fear and the planning came through in sort of that wheel of life in a lot of different places.
Yeah.
The sort of the enthusiasm piece came through with the things that I like to do. When I reflected on the disappointments, I could see that, if I had been maybe more enthusiastic about this, maybe I could have. So I looked at everything, but especially the disappointments to see where the
learning is.
Yeah, more learning.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, those sound awesome. They do sound easily transferable. Now you said, what was the second last one that you said you weren't sure about?
Pursue what serves me.
Okay.
So I'm trying to isolate what that actually means.
So if we make it into more of a longer statement.
Yeah.
When you pursue things that are in alignment with you, it makes you happy and satisfied. That's kind of like the long version.
Yeah.
And so is the key thing here that previously you were not going after things that serve you but serve others?
Yes.
Or that you just weren't going after things at all?
No. I've always sort of gone after things, but perhaps they weren't always my things. And you know, I have to be honest. I have done a lot over the last 2 years that have served just myself, and I think there's always an aspect that we do things that serve others, and maybe not ourselves.
So the key word here being me, right?
Yeah, but I think that when I do step sideways from my, I don't want to say values, but perhaps it is the things that feed my values. That's where it goes sideways sometimes. So
okay.
Yeah, I think it needs to be fleshed out a little bit, but I liked what you said.
And there was one that you made a face about. You get enthusiastic easily.
Enthusiasm builds momentum, and I can get enthusiastic about a lot of things, but.
So what's the learning from that? There's a deeper learning, because I can see that like, oh, because it's like you made it like that's a bad thing.
It is a bad thing.
Yeah.
If it doesn't serve me. So I think that's an important.
The serving me one is the cleaner upper of that.
Yeah. Maybe those are two, they're interrelated.
So the I get enthusiastic easily, that's one of your learnings, but let's not move forward with that one.
No.
Because that was a great learning, but that's not a guideline that you can actually apply.
No.
That's something about you. That's a fact about you.
Yeah.
So now you have 5.
Yeah.
What I'd love for you to do is just mute yourself, type those in. Because it's just the 3 of us, we're going to I want to keep being able to look at them.
Okay. You want them in the chat?
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you want to mute yourself and type them in, that'd be great. And as you type them in, I want you to think of these things. And Kathy, you're going to do the same after. Which one has impacted your life the most? Which 3 have the biggest impact on the next 12 months? And I'll drop that in the chat room so you don't have to remember. And the last one being, which ones are new to me? And so if you're listening to the replay, you are going to have to check on, that is from the big booklet that I sent to you. That's on page 19. But Paula's working with me right now, so I put it in the chat room, but you guys can't see the chat room if you're watching the recording. And then they're in there for you, Kathy, for after when I work with Paula and you can type yours in. Okay? Good. Okay.
Thank you.
So you type those in and I will talk with Kathy. So Kathy. Oh, and sorry, and Paula, just with going through these questions, the idea is we're going to, eventually we're going to start to narrow them down from 6 to 3. You already have just 5. So as you're kind of typing them out, maybe you're going to think like, oh, these 2 aren't as powerful for me. And if you have made draft guidelines, you can also type those in for those 5. Okay, good. Okay, Kathy, go ahead.
Well, as I'm reading through mine, they're all pretty much very thematic on one thing.
Well, there could be some nuances to it. So
absolutely.
That's why we need you to still read them all out. Go ahead.
Yeah, sure. So consistent action will bring growth to my business. The key word is consistent.
Yeah.
I'm accepting that I learn by making mistakes, which is kind of weird because I teach that to my kids all the time, but I realize that I wasn't really too good at accepting that. Now I am.
So this sounds actually a little bit like how Paula had that one that was more about her.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds like one of those.
Yep.
So why does that matter? There's a deeper piece here.
Yeah, because if I'm not okay making mistakes, it stops me from being consistent, which stops me from doing any business.
So then you procrastinate.
Oh yeah. My middle name is procrastination.
So the wisdom here is if you don't let yourself make mistakes, you will procrastinate.
There you go.
So there's always a deeper kind of thing there. Paula already kind of spelt out the deeper piece to that. So that's why we could just drop it, because that was like part A of the sentence and she already had part B, so we just kept part B. So that's a good learning for you. And there might be a guideline in that. Okay, what's another one?
Sorry, writing. Focusing on letting go will enable growth.
Mm-hmm.
I'm grateful for my flaws and that the flaws are part of who I am, and that's a good thing. And
So
a
why
bigger
does that
part.
matter?
Why does it matter? Same as the other one. It procrastinates.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. And then this one is more of an epiphany that came to me, a wisdom for sure.
Yeah.
Company events are not necessary to attend to grow my business.
So remember when I said you choose the wisdom that you're either most proud of or that you learned the most from. So you already said, like, this one is. Now, this is very focused on business.
Yep.
So how could we make that more general? Or do we have to?
I don't think we have to.
Okay, good.
Not
And
for me.
other wisdoms, or is that all of them?
Well, here's a general one, and I haven't quite found the words for it yet, but finding patience and letting go. That's more a general one than a business one.
So what's important about finding patience for you?
I want to get it done yesterday.
Yeah. And then what happens if you don't?
I get upset, but not now. I let go of it now.
Okay. So is this something you need? So this is one of those things. Have you learned it in 2019 that it's already part of your being? Or do you need a guideline to help you to remember this?
It's in between.
Okay. So let's carry it forward into it's a candidate for a guideline.
Yeah.
So if you do look back at the booklet, page 16, if you're finding that you're kind of like you're needing to go deeper with something, or you're needing to find more of the meaning behind something, go to page 16 and write them as like statements, like, I can get this result when I do this. Or, when I do this, I'm able to. So I can get this result when I do this, or I'm able to get this result when I do this, or flip it. When I do this, I get this result. And so how would you put it into that statement, Kathy? I'll just put that into the chat.
Yeah, if I am patient, it will open the door to releasing and letting go, or releasing and.
Are those two different things or the same?
No, not to me.
So what are you needing to release? Because you're doing, there's two verbs here, release and patience. That's two different things you're having to do. And so what are you releasing? Pressure? Perfectionism?
Personal expectations.
Okay. So when you're patient, you can be kinder to yourself. And you can be more realistic with your expectations. So if we flip it to the opposite, when you're not patient, you're very hard on yourself. And you make super tight deadlines that are unmanageable, that are unrealistic to reach. And I'm all for like dream big and how fast can you get things done, but there is some you have to be realistic, right? Because you probably want to overpromise all the time. Like, sure, you're telling me that right now, and it probably will take 5 hours of work, but I'll get it done for you by the end of the day, even though I'm teaching classes all day, right? like, sure, I'll have it by 9 a.m. tomorrow. That does mean that I probably won't sleep tonight or be with my family, but I can do that. Like, so that also probably has some self-sacrifice in there. So if we in the guidelines piece, we're going to want to make it more positive, right? More positive rather than shouldn't be hard on myself and all this. So when you're patient and give yourself realistic deadlines, you're happier, more confident, kinder to yourself.
It's funny, even last night I was saying that because it was a snow day, of course. Great opportunity to get a whole lot of stuff done. But every time I opened my email, it was like, no, shutting it down. And then by the end of the day, I had, several thousands of emails. And then I looked at my husband and I said, I can't win. It's like I take a day and it's like, this is what happens. So you have to be consistent, but that's a drag. And anyway.
Now, sometimes it is about being consistent, and sometimes it's fixing the root problem.
Yeah.
So the root problem might be the way you're communicating with others. There are too many emails. And so there's something to think about that is outside of what we're doing.
It's the time delete.
Yeah. Or in my email, I think currently I have 2,500 unread emails. They're not from people like you guys that would expect an email back from me. They're, things I've signed up for or whatever. And I just leave all of them there, whatever. Maybe one day I'll want to look at that. The greatest feeling is just to select all of them, create a new folder called Archive 2019.
Yeah, I do that. I just find it takes time.
Move.
Yeah.
Start fresh. Okay, here we go. Is that all of them, Kathy?
Basically, yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
So there's two more?
No, I really, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay.
Yeah, they're so similar. So I got to work through that some more, obviously.
Okay, so I'm going to get you to do the same as I asked Paula. I'm going to get you to type them in. And just one thing that if you could do, and I'm going to set the school bell. Yeah? Okay, cool. Oh, my hubby's calling me, which is very weird. Okay, give me 1 second. You type those in, Kathy. And if you push Shift Enter, then it'll just go to the next line rather than actually giving it to us, okay? Okay, when people do things out of the ordinary, I don't know what he was calling about, but I was like, I'm on a call. Is that important? He's like, no, call me back. I'm like, yay. So I'm just going to do that with yours, Paula. Oh, I didn't get to. No, as soon as you hit enter, it's going to go through. I tried to make some lines on it, but I didn't. Okay. Anyway. So let's look at Paula's right now. And Paula, you said the three biggest, you need confidence. I'm just going to move these over here. You need confidence. You need to keep moving forward. Oh, we're getting feedback. Daily focus on your plans, and you need clarity on your next steps. You need to push through and plan. Okay. So, oh, yes. And the wisdoms. You feel fear, but can push through. Daily focus and practice builds momentum. Plan, chunk down. Okay. The number 3, when those are the 3 biggest, you have now, these are the guideline versions, are they?
No, I have to work on those.
Oh, okay.
I had to leave for a second. So
that's okay. I haven't talked about that stuff. So the 3 biggest, I'm not seeing, you said they're the 3 biggest, but I don't see.
Okay. So the 3 that I think will impact me the most is I need confidence. I need to make choices and decisions that move me forward, but also build my confidence.
Okay, so confidence comes from moving forward. That's
Yeah.
one.
To be honest, I don't have a clue what my next steps are at this point. I need to get a job. I need to take it down.
Did that come from last year?
No, but
Okay.
I'm at a tipping point.
So let me just share that this is what will happen. People will go, great, here are my guidelines. And then I'll say, where did that come from? And it hasn't come from a wisdom. It's just something they feel is important, but that's not part of the process.
Okay.
Don't just create something because you think it's important. I agree that is a very good goal for you, but it's not a guideline.
Okay, I got it.
Okay, so the confidence comes from moving forward. That's going to be one of them.
I'm better when I chunk things down, so daily focus, right?
Yeah. Okay. The chunking things down.
And I just have to I need to just keep pushing through, right? Because I feel fear, I'm not going to achieve my goals because I don't know what they are. So I'm fearful, right? So again, I'm feeling this fear, and maybe fear isn't the right word. Yeah, it's the right word. False expectations that appear real.
Okay. Cool. So confidence comes from moving forward, plan chunk down tasks, and I feel fear, but you can push through. So those are the top 3. Now, usually we'll take the 6, we'll make the guidelines, and then after we've made the guidelines, we'll see what resonates. But we've already seen that these 3 are the biggest ones. Let's just look at the ones you're getting rid of, though. Daily focus and practice builds momentum. So that one is not as important as these 3.
Yeah, because I've got that with the chunking down.
Oh, sorry. You have that one. Daily focus so that can go in with that one. Okay.
Yeah. That's actually, they kind of relate.
Now the pursuing what aligns with you. That's not as important as these ones. You have the right answer. I'm just checking.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, maybe it is important, but it comes with those other pieces, right? Mm-hmm. So my confidence comes from moving forward in a manner that aligns with
you.
Right? Yeah.
So the key thing, So the key thing here is definitely having, something around it's about you.
Yes.
It's your stuff.
Yeah.
So in this case, if there is a 4th thing, if there's a full 4th potential guideline that you want to bring forward, you can have 4 guidelines. If we really want you to have 4 guidelines, or you could take the piece that's important and see if it will fit into one of the others. Okay, so what I'd like you to do now, and if Kathy, I'm guessing she just went off camera and everything's because she's been talking to someone. And so the next piece, I'm just going to slide down. I'm looking at the booklet on page 19, and I'll see the other one, what that is going to be. In module 3. Okay, page 2 on module 3. So this is where we want to grab these wisdoms now and think, how can we make guidelines that are positive and empowering, clear and concise, memorable, and use those dynamic verbs. So the dynamic verbs being on that page that was further up. Mm-hmm. So at this time, let me see if Kathy's not back. Okay. So let's start playing with these, Paula.
Okay.
Writing them as draft guidelines. So let's kind of do one together because I don't see Kathy here.
Okay.
So confidence comes from moving forward. And actually, do I have I was trying to see that earlier and I put them away. My guidelines. Confidence comes from moving forward. That's pretty good, right? But
Mhm.
can we make it any more concise? Move forward with confidence.
Mhm.
Move forward to get confidence.
Mhm. I see.
Is it not just the word move? Could it be a more dynamic verb? Could it be leap, strive? I don't like the word push, but is there another verb there that we could use?
Is it? I think it could be just even forward momentum.
Yeah. Creates confidence.
Creates confidence. And if I wanted to create this to be a very personalized,
Yep.
it would be forward momentum that aligns. Is it that aligns?
Complicated. We're getting
Yeah.
too much in it. Just like that other one with Kathy. I said, is it patience or is it around releasing expectations? Like, which is it?
Mm-hmm.
We don't want two verbs. So here's just kind of look at it. Here we go. Forward momentum creates confidence.
Yeah, forward momentum creates confidence. Yeah.
So then we have to see, is that positive and empowering? Positive? Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Empowering? Yeah. Is it clear and concise?
Well, it's clear. Is it concise? It's quite a general statement that can be applied concisely. Sounds in a roundabout speak.
But it's not like a massive sentence. So it's more concise than it was in the beginning.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Is it memorable for you?
Yeah. I could paint that on a board and be happy with that.
Yeah. And then it does have dynamic verbs. Well, we changed move forward to momentum.
Yeah.
That has more like more drive to it.
Yeah. And it really speaks to the confidence piece, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Cool.
Yeah.
So you feel good about that one?
I do. I feel really good about that one.
Nice. So why don't you wordsmith the other two, just like how we did that?
Okay.
I'm going to go through Kathy's that she's punched in here, typed into the chat room. And for those of you who are watching the recording, listen how I work with Paula and Kathy here, because it's going to help you as you look at yours to be like, oh yeah, I did that. Or yeah, mine's similar here. And if you are like, this is not how I want it to be, but I don't know what's wrong with it, or it doesn't feel right, or what should I do here? That's where you write all those questions down and you bring them to the next call. Or if you definitely can't make the next call, send me an email so that I can answer them on the call. Okay, Kathy, let's look at yours. I'm just going to mute you, Paul, in case I did. That's fine. Okay, so Kathy, when you're patient, you can be kinder to yourself. If you don't make mistakes, you'll procrastinate. You're grateful for your flaws, and they're part of your spirit towards growth. And through consistent action, you're able to create success in life and business. Or consistent action will bring growth to your business. Okay, so you have 4 right now. You're muted.
Yeah, that's the same one. I just like the wording better.
Yeah, so you have 4. Otherwise, you'd have 5. So you have 4 right now, and those ones are feeling like the ones like you're starting to narrow it down, right?
Yeah.
So for anyone watching, please, in the process that Paul and Kathy and I went through, it was very clear that these already are kind of the ones to move forward with. But I do encourage you to take the 6 wisdoms, and then from that, make 6 guidelines, and then from draft to, and as you kind of go through that process from draft to the final, you're going to start to see like, nah, that one's no good. Or you're going to be like, I just can't make this positive in any way. Or, oh, I've actually already accomplished that. Or that's more of fact talking about me. Or, oh, I just pulled this one out of my butt. This actually didn't even follow the process. This happens all the time. People are like, this is a really good one that I should have, but it just comes out of nowhere. So follow the process, because that's why you went through the accomplishments and the disappointments to boil this down.
Yeah.
But like for Paula, where she came up with like, well, I need clarity. Yeah, that's top of mind for her. And she does need that. So that needs to be written down as a goal or a reminder. So if something else pops up, don't be like, but this is better. Write it down somewhere else as a goal.
Yeah.
Okay?
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. So as okay, Kathy's had to fly off to do something. So I'm going to see what else is there. And what I'm seeing too is the booklet has quite a bit more in it if you are wanting to kind of go through that format. I'm going to pull it up again, see what other piece I can teach. Okay, I'm going to start going through Kathy's. Okay. So Kathy's are, when I am patient, I can be kinder to myself. And Kathy's done this with me a few times. So you can start to hear like the kind of patterning. When I am patient, I can be kinder to myself. If I don't make mistakes, I'll procrastinate. I'm grateful for my flaws and they're part of my spirit towards growth. And the last one being consistent action will bring growth to my business. So with these 4, I'm going to go through, and as you're listening to the recording, you can also answer these about when we get into the guidelines. Do you think already, like we haven't moved them into guidelines, but do you think that Kathy's sound positive? And let's go through each one and go through what makes a good guideline. And I know these are not written as guidelines yet. They're written as statements or as the wisdoms. So when I'm patient, I can be kinder to myself. Is that positive and empowering? Positive, I wouldn't really say it's empowering. So we're going to have to bump that up when we go through it as a guideline. None of these will be clear and concise right now, or memorable, potentially using dynamic verbs. So let's just check in with the positive and empowering. If I don't make mistakes, I will procrastinate. So she's trying to make it like, it's okay to make mistakes, but the way it sounds right now, sounds negative. If I don't make mistakes, I'll procrastinate. So what I'm going to have Kathy do when she redoes this into a guideline is just take out the use of her, I, if I don't make mistakes. So instead saying just mistakes. Mistakes allow me to move forward. So I will procrastinate. Procrastinate's a negative word. We don't want that. So what's the flip side? Otherwise, every time you read the guideline, you are reinforcing these negative things. So procrastinate. Every time you read it, procrastinate. Like, well, that's not helpful. I want to look at what's the opposite of procrastinate. Paul, are you done your guidelines? Did you write them in because you're sitting there? Or are you?
No, I did, but I mean, am I done? No, I think for sure there's more opportunity, but I'm listening to what you're saying about positive and reflecting on the work I've done.
Perfect. Okay. I just didn't want you, if you were sitting there listening to me, for me to not engage with you.
No, I'm enjoying this.
Since I'm basically talking to those watching the recording.
No. It's good. Okay. It's good. It's sinking. Yeah. You're speaking my language.
Good. And then the next one is, I am grateful for my flaws and they're part of my spirit towards growth. So again, is this positive and empowering? No, even though she's giving herself permission to not be perfect. And so what can we say is maybe opposite of that, of maybe loving herself fully. Loving yourself fully means including the flaws, but we're not going to use the word flaws as part of the guideline. So, okay, Kathy, you're there?
Yeah, sorry about that.
That's okay. So were you able to hear me, or someone?
I had students. I turned it off. Sorry.
Yeah, good. Okay. Because I was totally talking about you.
No.
Like talking about your things here. So what I've just done with the people who are watching the recording is I've gone through and asked, even though these are not written as guidelines, does do these as wisdoms sound positive and empowering. So, and what's the last one? Consistent action will bring growth to my business. Is that positive and empowering, Kathy?
Yes.
Yes. Good.
Yes.
Now listen to this one. I am grateful for my flaws. How about this one? If I don't make mistakes, I will procrastinate.
If I don't make mistakes?
Yeah, I will procrastinate. So mistakes are a negative word. Procrastinate's a negative word. So I was talking about flipping these.
Yeah.
So how about instead of I'm grateful for my flaws, I love myself fully.
Okay.
And now it sounds like you're not as jazzed about it.
No.
And so
I think because of my personality, I think the negative pushes me harder.
But what happens is when you read these guidelines over and over and over again,
yeah, you'll start believing it. I get it. Yeah.
Well, not even that. It's the words that are in your mind are mistakes, procrastinate, flaws. These words will be kind of put into your being. It's like that whole thing, like, don't think about a purple elephant. Your brain goes to that, even though I said the word don't. So it's the same here. We want to make sure that they're all positive and empowering. So instead of when I'm patient, I can be kinder to myself.
I get it. Yeah.
Brings kindness. Or instead of if I don't make mistakes, I'll procrastinate. You can use the word mistakes if you want. Mistakes bring continued effort. Mistakes mean can be consistent. Or take away the word mistakes and say, maybe the whole thing is just going with it, even though you don't have everything in place. So it's that idea of imperfect action.
Yeah.
And it's okay if maybe imperfect action maybe will sound more positive than if I don't make mistakes.
I like that. Imperfect action. I like that.
And isn't there already a quote like that?
Yeah.
With that imperfect action?
Yeah.
And rather than the word procrastinate, what does it have you do that's the opposite? Move forward, reach your goals, get more done, accomplish more. Imperfect action means I accomplish. Imperfect action brings results.
Yeah.
That was like the best thing that Michelle said to me when I was doing the book. Because I was like, but like, I need to do more work on this. And she's like, we don't have time. Like, if you want this to be shipped to Washington on time, we need to go to print. And I'm like, oh, and then she said, Diane, this is version 1, edition 1. You can reprint. It's not a big deal. And in Dynamic U, I found mistakes. I found a bunch of mistakes.
Yeah.
And that's okay. I had one of those like you are your kind of things.
Yeah.
One of those. Oh, that killed me as an English major. But me and 3 other editors didn't find it.
Yeah.
It happens, whatever. But did I get a book out? I did. So maybe imperfect action gets results. So thinking about that now, Kathy, does that sound positive and empowering?
Yeah, it's better.
That will jazz you up, get you more excited than if I don't make mistakes, I'll procrastinate. Whoa, right?
Yeah.
We know where you're coming from. And so what I'd like you to now do is spend a bit of time going through these and making them into guidelines. So you already have a nice little flow to each one, but I wanted to pick up just the positivity. We need to make them a bit more concise right now.
Mm-hmm.
And if in changing the I'm grateful for my flaws to be like, I am a wonderful person. Now you're like, that's not a guideline now.
No.
then cut it.
Yeah.
And maybe this now becomes an I am statement. Like, I am wonderful even even in my flaws. Like that becomes an I am statement that you use in a mantra, in a meditation, in
Yeah.
a journal. Like don't completely discard it if it's still important to you.
Yeah.
Okay, any questions there? We're going to get you to make them positive, empowering, clear and concise, memorable, and use some dynamic verbs.
Okay.
Okay, awesome. And then I'm going to flip over to Paula, and we're going to go through Paula's. So the first one we already came up with. I'm just going back up to find it. I think I read it wrote it at the bottom. Oh, bless you. Oh, here. Forward momentum creates confidence. That's first one. Fear is not the end, it's the opportunity. Okay, is that concise? No.
No, I thought it was.
No, it's super long. So guidelines are usually like three to 5 words.
Okay.
Super short.
Okay, so fear is the opportunity.
Fear is the opportunity. Now, is that positive?
Feels positive to me. I mean, it's got the word fear.
Let's ask the opposite. Does the word fear bring negativity to you? Does it? Yes or no?
Yeah, fear. You know, it's the only thing we have to fear is fear itself, right? It's a negative experience,
But if you said fear is an opportunity, that just
positive.
just expands. So we want the guidelines to expand, not contract us.
Yeah.
So fear is an opportunity. That's expansive. That feels more positive.
Yeah.
So it matters to you. Is this positive and empowering? If we made it fear is an opportunity.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Light. It's just like, it snowed yesterday. It sounds more like a statement rather than something that's like, we're going to pull you down.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. The next one, deconstruct tasks to reconstruct. Is that clear to you?
It is to me.
Like this.
It is to me, but I can see that it is. What does it mean?
This was your chunk down tasks?
Yeah. So get my list of verbs.
Because we want to make sure that it's easy to remember.
Mm-hmm.
And that just made my brain go like, what? I'm trying to understand. Deconstruct tasks to reconstruct.
Yeah. Okay.
So simplicity is
key. Yeah.
Is good. You don't like dynamic verbs are great, but only when they fit.
Mm-hmm.
So is it more important to plan or to chunk down the tasks? Which one's more important? Which one did you actually learn about?
So it is about breaking them down into manageable chunks.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a good planner.
So it's the breaking down piece.
It's the breaking down, and that's where deconstruction speaks to me.
Okay. And what's the result?
An achievement.
Hmm.
So if I deconstruct a task,
yeah,
I can achieve the task. So I'm not really reconstructing it. I'm achieving.
Yeah.
So deconstruction leads to achievement.
Ooh.
The breaking down of a task creates a manageable achievement, and creates an achievement. So it really should be deconstruction. That leads to achievement.
Yeah. How does that feel?
That feels good.
Yay.
Yeah. Because that's how I've gotten through everything. Yeah. 45 minutes at a time.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. So make sure you've rewritten those 3 down as exactly how you want them to be.
Yeah.
I will jump over to Kathy, see where she's at. She's looking all happy for you. You can tell. Yeah. Yeah. So you write those down and then we'll have you read them out one more time to everybody when we're done with Kathy. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, Miss Kathy, you need to unmute yourself. Okay. So we have consistent action brings growth to your business. That's your guideline?
Yep.
Okay. Is it concise?
Yep.
Not enough. Let's pull it in. You're there. Remember with Paula, all we did was pull at the middle. Let's just, what can we cut out? And so this means cutting out filler words,
Okay.
right? Potentially cutting out pronouns, cutting out extra things. So consistent action brings growth to my business. Very specific, not as transferable, right? It says to my business. So Kathy just wrote consistent action equals growth. And for some reason, Kathy, you are frozen and you're frozen with your tongue sticking out.
You're frozen with your eyes closed.
Oh, darn it. Okay, you're back. So consistent action equals growth. Yeah?
Yeah.
Hey, is that positive?
Yep.
Empowering?
Yep.
Memorable?
Yep.
And dynamic verbs?
I don't have them in front of me.
Well, the thing is, the word consistent is super important to you. You've mentioned that a bunch of times.
Yeah.
The only words that you could potentially change would be, instead of equals growth, it could be boosts growth. Like fires up growth. I don't know, like you could find something else. So if you wanted to just have a peek at the When You're Home, the booklet,
Yep.
just finding the page number for
Yep.
you.
Yep.
Here, page 9. So just go home and see if there's anything else. Or instead of the word growth, on page 11, Paul, I think that's the adjectives to describe people. But you might find something in there too. I don't know. That's more about, those are more adjectives to describe people. Okay, so instead of growth, it might be expansion. I don't know. There might be another word there. So play with it, but you're definitely like 98% there. And the 2% is only if you personally want to switch those words. Otherwise, and just so you guys know, because in the recording you're not seeing this, she used an equal sign. So consistent growth equals, consistent action equals growth. So if you can put symbols in, you know, the dollar sign, if you're talking about money or whatever, increase, you can do an arrow up, you can play around with it. Awesome. Next one, focusing on letting go will welcome growth. So again, let's like scrunch this, panini press it, whatever. How do we, how would you make that shorter? Uh-oh. You're gonna write, just let it go? Yes. But the thing is, it's welcoming growth. That's kind of a key piece here. So you have two choices, and this is for everyone doing this. When they're that long, you have a choice to scrunch it in or potentially to cut off the end. But what I'm feeling here is, so focusing we can drop. It's the letting go that's the verb that's most important, right? But let go is welcoming growth. And this is important, I think, because the letting go is the letting go of what? Faults, mistakes, these kind of things?
That's some of it. It's encompassing a lot of different things.
But that brings growth.
Yeah.
So maybe it's let go for growth. Or letting go lets me grow. See, and this is why I said, Paula, you made a face like, oh, this is why I said you want to be on here. You want me wordsmithing with you. And so if you're like, darn it, I missed it. I wasn't on, but I watched your recording, Diane. Next week, like this is your chance here. If you want me to wordsmith your stuff, letting go welcomes money. But you're just making stuff up now because you said growth.
No,
Is
that's
this
growth.
financial?
Yeah.
Okay. Letting go welcomes money. Or letting go grows money.
Yeah.
Like,
not to be confused with letting go of money. That's not what it is. No, it's letting go of all of the things that stand and block my way is preventing me from making money. So letting go will bring the money.
And so what was that?
Letting go will bring money.
There you go. So the more you kind of talk about, the more kind of cool stuff happens with it. So now you've got 2 done ones, right? We'll take a few more minutes, make sure that we can get your 3rd one done here. Choosing events, networking with thought will benefit your growth. So again, too long. How do we shorten that? I've got this one pesky nostril that just... The cold came to visit me again.
Oh. Sorry to say welcome back, but I hope everybody had a
announcements at school. I used to do that. Okay, you mute. Yeah, Kathy. And so this last one, choosing events networking with thought will benefit your growth. So is it just choose events wisely? Is that the key piece? So I'm just waiting to kind of see what Kathy types in here. Then, yeah, but type in. Choose events wisely. Does that land for you? I know you said it's benefiting your growth again, but I think the key thing is just not choosing everything, not thinking you have to be at everything. So is it choose events wisely? Because networking can fall under events. It can even be like when you get invited to go to a party, that could even be another thing. So we want to make it transferable to other areas as well. Wisely choose events equals success. Yes, and I'm feeling it's not going to be as memorable because wisely choose events isn't how we naturally would speak. And that's okay. That's why I have like the draft and then another round and then another round, because you want to like play with this, wordsmith them a bit. Choose events wisely equals success. Do you even need the success? I feel like the most powerful thing here is choose events wisely. You didn't learn that it brings you success. You learned that you could actually choose events. You learned that you didn't have to go to all of them.
True.
And the result you got in the end was, oh, and I was still okay. That's awesome. Yep. But the key learning here, and that's why you go through the process, the key learning here was, I don't have to go. I can choose.
Yeah, it's one of those things because it's been sort of ever since I started working with the company, it was always be at events. It's so important to be at the events. Don't miss it because it will take, it's sort of an expectation.
Yeah.
But I've come to realize like I can't go to the next 2 and it's like, I'm okay with that. That gives me more time and more money to do what I need to do.
Yes. Yeah. And really, the way our time is spent should always be assessed to see if it's right for us. Yeah. Okay, good. So you've got your 3 there. Letting go welcomes money. Wisely, choose events wisely, and consistent action equals growth. So how do those feel?
Really good.
Yay! Yay!
Thank you.
You're welcome. You are welcome. So you can also be writing those down. So in module 3, there is a final page there, that page 3, that you can write them in. Or if you want to take it back to the booklet actually has, you can write them in. Let me go to the page. You write them in on page 21, your final guidelines. So Paula and Kathy, you have my permission to write them in. You guys are finalized here. And then there's a commitment there. So you can sign that and date it. And if you want to, actually not if you want to, I highly encourage you to take a screenshot of this or save this page and send it to me with your commitment, signing it. And for those of you who got the 3 calls for the quarterly calls as part of this, we are going to look at these every quarter. so that you will know how, like, are you using them? Are they still serving you? Are they alive? Do you need to adjust them, edit them, whatever it may be? And for those of you who are like, oh, but I want the calls, I like being on here, or I like listening to these, and I want to see what else Diane says, you can upgrade to that if you want. Just reach out to me and let me know. Because I know for me, even with those other 2 coaches that I do this process with, if we didn't meet every quarter, I would easily kind of let them slide. Right? Just like you guys, we're all the same. Everything gets in the way. Okay, so Paula, I'll have you read yours over one more time, and then Kathy, have you read them over one more time. And this is you, like, stating them to the world. Okay, go for it, and then we'll wrap up.
All right. Forward momentum creates confidence. Fear is an opportunity, and deconstruction leads to achievement.
Whoop, whoop, whoop. High fives to you. Yeah, those were awesome.
These really resonate. They feel truthful inside. Really good. Thank you so much, Diane.
You're welcome. So you don't want to have the, like, I need clarity on where I'm supposed to go next. What I'm supposed to, like, no, that's a goal, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, Kathy, you say yours now.
Okay. I love those, by the way, Paula. Those are awesome.
So well.
I might have to steal them.
No, they were not part of your process.
Oh, okay. Consistent action equals growth. Choose events wisely. And letting go welcomes money.
Yay! Boop, boop. Gotta change up my celebration.
Yay!
Great job. And so for those of you who are like, I want Diane to high five me, air high five me, and give me whoop whoops, come on the next call and we'll listen to yours, and I'll wordsmith yours if necessary. And also we're going to talk about the new paradigm. Exciting. Let me just see if there's anything that you guys can do. Let me quickly just explain page 22, doing the Wheel of Life. I know that, Paula, you haven't done it, and you've been faithful coming on the calls and everything. So let me make sure that you know how to do that. I know Kathy, you know how to do it, and any other of my clients know how to do it. But on page 22, the Wheel of Life, in the booklet, and anyone else who hasn't done this or hasn't done this in the last little while, please do it. The Wheel of Life rates your level of satisfaction. Do you see it, Paula, in front of you? Yeah, perfect. Okay. So it measures your satisfaction in life, not your success. And so what I encourage you to do is look at each area of life. And if you want to make it 10 areas or 9 areas rather than 8, you're going to split friends and family. Just cut it like a piece. Actually, I'll just share my screen so everyone knows what I'm talking about. Here we go. Here. Okay. So you're just going to slice it. Just take your pen and cut it here, family and friends. Or you can cut here, personal development. If you have a spiritual side, just cut it here, cut it across. Right? Like you were cutting another slice of pie, or someone else says, I only want half a piece of cake. Just, do that. So as you go around, you're going to look at each area and you're going to say, how satisfied am I in that area from 0 to 10, 10 being fully satisfied, 0 being not satisfied at all. Please do not say, well, realistically, I'm probably at here because this and this and this. No, like, how satisfied are you? Just go with that gut decision, that number that comes up. For anyone that has 2 careers, like a day job and a side hustle or whatever it is, or multiple careers, again, feel free to cut this in half and have both sides, or just have one general score and just work your way around. And you're going to just kind of put a line on, actually, I can probably do that. Does this allow me to do a line now? Here we go. Pink. No. I don't know why. I was trying to show on here, but I can't. Anyway, it doesn't matter. You get the point. So you're going to just kind of draw the line around. So that's maybe an 8, and maybe money. You're like, oh, it's not so good. So it's a 6. And then personal development is here. And then my spiritual is maybe here. And so you're just going to make that line so it makes an inner circle. Okay. And then I want you to think, once you've done it all, that's the inner wheel. That's how you're riding through life. And so ask yourself, if that was a wheel and you were actually riding on it, how does it feel? bumpity, bumpity, bump, potentially. And it's not about having perfect 10s. It's just about knowing where you're at. It's a bird's eye view, bird's eye view up above, looking at like, what's life like? And it'll tell you where you maybe need to focus your goals for 2020. If you're wondering about the areas of life, what are they? What do you mean by physical environment? Look at page 23 in the booklet. And if you want to do page 24 of the booklet, that is, I want you to think of next year and ask yourself, ooh, like what are the cool things that I want to happen next year? Meaning 2020, the year we're in right now. But write down all the things. So there's a bunch of things, and in the left side you could put like career or friends, family, whatever, and then write like all the amazing highlights that are going to happen. Okay, so Kathy will write gratitude and appreciation summit, amazing, 500 people, this much money raised, right? So she's gonna write that down. Then just see if there's anything else here to add in. And if you want to start making some goals, page 26 has some spots there where now that you've kind of done a vision, now that you've been like, oh, dream in these areas, this is what I want, then you're going to look at page 26 and actually write down some goals. And then I'll tell you what to do with page 27. And that's where we're at. Okay, cool. Well, thank you, ladies, for coming on live with me today. You both did an amazing job. And everyone else, you have the chance in our call next Wednesday at noon Pacific time to be able to share what your guidelines are. We won't spend as much time on it. I wanted to take Kathy and Paula fully through the process so that everyone could see it, feel it, and kind of know what to do with theirs. And we'll check in on your guidelines, and we'll spend time on the new paradigm and goals and the wheel of life. And we'll just kind of do what we can in the time that we have next week. Sound good?
Sounds fabulous.
Thank you.
You are
Thanks
very
so much, Diane. You're awesome.
Yeah, thank you so much, Diane. Really.
You're welcome. Okay, take care, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.